about Ohio State's schedule?
For next year?
Yes, and you was talking about.
It's awful.
You made the comment about the. I understand that, but you don't ever talk about the SEC schedule when they play those.
Whoa! Hey, James. How long have you been watching me?
I've been watching you for, I'd say, about a month now.
Okay, for a month. Believe me, James, I have ripped and torn to shreds SEC schedules. So what I do every off season, James, and I'm going to do it earlier this year than I've done it in the past. I usually wait too long and I'm cramming them all in. I go through everybody's schedule and I rank them. I make comparisons between every schedule in the country, all the Power 5, 68 teams, and I rank them. So what I have ripped on the SEC about scheduling has been the obvious. Number one, they don't travel anywhere. And when I say they, I don't mean everyone, but almost everyone doesn't travel. They play too many neutral games, neutral site games. They play, we'll take Alabama, for example. This schedule that they put together for last year was abysmal. Louisville was awful. Now, did they know that Louisville was going to be awful? Of course not. They expected to play a 7-5 or 8-4 kind of Louisville team like we typically get. But Alabama's premier game should not be against the 7-5 Louisville team. And then they schedule two FCS teams, and then they schedule a group of five who's typically not good.
Correction. Three, because that homecoming game.
They played three FCS this year?
I guess it is too, but they play that late towards the end of the year. They play that homecoming game against one of those FCS schools.
James, believe me, I have torn the SEC to shreds in the scheduling department. Anybody who doesn't schedule Power 5 teams or schedules a light touch like Alabama is next year with Duke. What is I have no issue with Alabama playing Duke. They go ahead and play Duke, but you should be playing somebody else. You should be playing Duke and Penn State, or Duke and Oregon, or Duke and fill in the blank, Texas, somebody else of your caliber.
And I'm going to tell you something else too. Before recent years, Georgia, it came out, Georgia went 20 years before they played a non-conference game out of the Southeast. It had been that long. And like you said, the SEC, for all the props that they get, they do not travel. And Saban, what I don't like is for a team that's supposed to be the number one ranked team in the country every year, is the fact that they play these neutral site games. They will not travel. I don't like, and it's not a neutral site game if you're playing in the Georgia Dome.
No.
What is that? And then they played, and then a few years ago they played Wisconsin in Texas.
Exactly.
That's not a neutral site.
No.
Wisconsin had to come almost 2,000 miles. They had to go all the way to Texas, and Alabama only had to scoot 2 states over. So you're getting a northern team to come all the way south to play a team in the dead heat.
So, James, to your point, if you're going to do that, do it the way LSU did it. They went to Lambeau, and then Wisconsin came down and played at Reliance Stadium in Houston. So at least they played neutral sites, but they played one in the north at Lambeau Field, which was great. It was an awesome spectacle, Lambeau Field, Wisconsin, LSU, and they played the year before at I believe it was 2 years before, and the Alabama game was in between. But anyway, they played in Houston. So do it that way if you're going to stick to these stupid neutral site games. There's too many of them. Play at the other stadium.
But I'm saying, give Ohio State some love. Okay, Jim Tressel once said this.
Yes.
When he was coaching. Jim Tressel said, "We will play anybody, anywhere, anytime. We don't run from nobody." And what did they do? They played a home and home. This was under Jim Tressel. They played a home and home with USC.
Sure.
To start, they played a home and home with Texas.
You understand that I know all this, right?
Oh, okay. I'm just clearing that up.
I can recite Ohio State's non-conference schedules. Believe me.
Yes, we did a home and home we just recently did a home and home with Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. We did a home and home with Cal. I mean, come on now. Ohio State is the only school in the country.
You lost me with Cal.
Country. Well, wait a minute now. We played Cal. Listen to this. Look this up.
I don't need to look it up. James, for those people that are watching, that have been watching me for a long time, they know I don't need to look this stuff up. Go ahead.
No, okay. Do you know who the starting quarterback for Cal was when Ohio State played him?
Well, he's playing for the Los Angeles Rams right now.
Okay, so what are you talking about, Cal?
Well, that doesn't mean just because they had a pro quarterback doesn't mean that they were any good. How many games did they? You know that Jared Goff went 1-11 one year in college, so it doesn't mean that the rest of the team was any good. And I'm going to liken that scheduling to Alabama scheduling Duke. I don't have an issue with Ohio State scheduling Cal, but schedule somebody else too. You know that when is Cal ever 10-2, 11-1? Never. So they're going to be 7-5 or 4-8 or 1-11 one time. But yeah, Ohio State generally schedules very well. They've got Notre Dame and Texas coming up here in the next few years, but they evidently couldn't find somebody to play. And Tennessee and Oregon, home and home.
Yeah.
So some really good games. Absolutely. Virginia Tech, they obviously played a home and home with them in 14 and 15 as well. The point of that.
And look, we lost to them. Frank Beamer come out there and run he come out there and run the defense, the 85 Bears defense.
Yes, he did.
He ran the 46 defense on them, and they put it on us, and we still won. We rolled our games and won a championship.
That's right. On poor JT Barrett, who was just starting his second game after the game against Navy the week before.
Okay.
James, I hope you've at least caught on, even if you don't agree with me. I hope you've caught on in watching me after a month that I'm at least I do my research and I know who plays who and I do follow it pretty heavily.
Well, I like you because you're impartial.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You have to be impartial. If you're not impartial,
I try.
You have no taste. So, well, thanks a lot.
Thank you, James. Again, I was just making the point that they're not playing anyone this year. And Cincinnati's a very good group of five, but that shouldn't be their best game.
Right. I agree.
I'm not saying Ohio State's dodging anyone because obviously that's not their way. They don't do that. They probably just got into a bind and everybody else was taken and they couldn't find anyone to schedule. That's why, and I've explained this, James, and probably way before you started watching, I've done videos on this. I would take all scheduling out of the hands of the schools. It would be completely ripped away from the schools. And there would be a committee and a formula that would spit the schedule out. And I've explained how I would spit the schedule out, and it would be equitable for everyone.